Good evening to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to announce that within short span of 1 month, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Law is organizing a second webinar on the role of alternative dispute resolution systems in dispensation of justice. I request Sri Purushottam Das Ji Pasari, Chairman, Sri Vaishnav Group of Institutions Indore, and Chancellor Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya Indore, for the inauguration of the webinar and welcome address. Sir.
नमस्कार। वैष्णव इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ लॉ के द्वारा आयोजित आज के इस वेबिनार में हमारे लिए गर्व की बात है कि आदरणीय श्री आर.वी. रविंद्रन जी, जो कि सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश रह चुके हैं, इस वेबिनार में हमें मार्गदर्शन हेतु उपस्थित हुए हैं। मैं उनका वैष्णव कमेटी की ओर से, ट्रस्ट की ओर से एवं वैष्णव ट्रस्ट के द्वारा संचालित सभी संस्थाओं की ओर से हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। साथ ही इस वेबिनार में उपस्थित सभी महानुभावों का मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। बंधुओं, वैष्णव कमेटी की स्थापना 136 वर्ष पूर्व 1884 में हुई थी। वैष्णव कमेटी की स्थापना का मुख्य उद्देश्य मानव जन सामान्य को सहायता करना, साधु संतों की सेवा करना एवं मूक पशु पक्षी को चारा दाना पानी की व्यवस्था करना था। कालांतर में शैक्षणिक कार्य 1950 से प्रारंभ हुआ। वर्तमान में वैष्णव कमेटी के अंतर्गत 4 सीबीएसई स्कूल, 5 महाविद्यालय एवं 2016 से वैष्णव विद्यापीठ विश्वविद्यालय कार्यरत हैं। इन सभी में हमारे यहाँ करीब 21,000 विद्यार्थी अध्ययनरत हैं। हमारी शैक्षणिक संस्थाओं में निर्धारित पाठ्यक्रमों के अलावा जीवन मूल्यों, आदर्शों, संस्कार एवं संस्कृति के विषय में भी पढ़ाई अध्ययन कराया जाता है। इसी के साथ वैष्णव ट्रस्ट के द्वारा औषधालय, डायलिसिस सेंटर, अन्य क्षेत्र, शैक्षणिक सहायता एवं चिकित्सा सहायता के साथ ही निःशुल्क सवाहिनी की सेवा भी जन साधारण के लिए उपलब्ध की गई है। वैष्णव विधि महाविद्यालय वैष्णव ट्रस्ट द्वारा 2005 में स्थापित किया गया था। वैष्णव विधि महाविद्यालय मध्य प्रदेश का प्रथम निजी क्षेत्र के अंदर स्थापित इंस्टीट्यूशन है, जिसमें बीए एलएलबी, बीकॉम एलएलबी, बीबीए एलएलबी, एलएलबी एवं एलएलएम की पाठ्यक्रम चलाए जाते हैं। आज का ये वेबिनार का हमारा विषय न्यायिक विवाद में वैकल्पिक विवाद समाधान प्रणाली की भूमिका है, जो कि एक महत्वपूर्ण विषय है। वैकल्पिक विवाद समाधान प्रणाली एक ऐसी व्यवस्था है जिसमें न्यायालय के बाहरी विवादों का समझौता द्वारा निपटारा किया जाता है। इस व्यवस्था से न्यायालयों के ऊपर बोझ कम होता है, न्याय जल्दी होता है। जिस तरह की महामारी से पूरा विश्व गुजर रहा है, उसमें हमारे संस्थान ने इस तरह के विषय पर ऑनलाइन माध्यम से सभी नियमों का पालन करते हुए इस वेबिनार का आयोजन किया है, ताकि सबको घर बैठे ही इतने उपयोगी विषय पर विधि विशेषज्ञ द्वारा ज्ञान मिल सके। इस अवसर पर मैं इस वेबिनार का उद्घाटन करता हूं और उम्मीद करता हूं कि इस वेबिनार से विद्यार्थियों, शिक्षक तथा सभी श्रोतागण निश्चित ही लाभान्वित होंगे। पुनः सभी का स्वागत करते हुए मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूँ। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind and encouraging words. Now, I am requesting Professor Dr. Vinayak Patnaik, Director, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Law, Indore, to introduce our chief guest and honorable speaker. And I am also requesting sir for keynote address. Sir, please.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon to all of you. Honorable Sri Justice R.V. Ravindran ji, respected Sri Purushottam Das ji Pasari, Honorable Chancellor of Sri Vaishnava Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya and Chairman of Sri Vaishnava Trust, Sri Girdhar Gopal ji Nagar, Chairman of our Institute, Sri Vaishnava Institute of Law, Indore, Vice Chairman Devendra Kumar ji Mitchell of this institute, Sri Vishnu ji Pasari, Secretary of our Institute, Sri Vaishnava Institute of Law, Sri Raghavan ji Muchal, Joint Secretary of this institute, Sri Vijay ji Agar, Treasurer, all the distinguished members of the trust, and all the members of the faculty, and all the distinguished participants of this webinar. All of you know the topic of this webinar is role of alternative dispute resolution systems in the dispensation of justice. We are today extremely happy, proud, and privileged that amongst us today, Justice Ravindran ji, who is the honorable speaker, and he will enlighten us and enrich us on this very important topic, that is role of ADR in rendering justice. Justice Ravindran hails from Bangalore. Born in 1946, he began his career as a lawyer, and after serving around more than 25 years as a lawyer, he occupied the distinguished position of Judge of Karnataka High Court, Bangalore. After that, he was elevated as a Chief Justice of Madhya Pradesh High Court. That is in the year 2004. Or I am sure Ravindran ji will not forget Madhya Pradesh as well as Sri Vaishnava Trust, because from this position of Chief Justice of Madhya Pradesh High Court, he was elevated to the distinguished and very honorable position of the Judge of the Supreme Court of India in the year 2005. And he took his retirement as a Judge of the Supreme Court in the year 2011. During the tenure of his service as a judge, he occupied, besides being a judge, he occupied several positions, like he was the chairperson of Supreme Court Legal Services Committee, as well as the chairperson of Mediation and Conciliation Project. After retirement also, he did not stop working and went on continuing legal services on the areas of arbitration, mediation, and so on. After not only this, besides this legal profession as a lawyer as well as a judge, it is very, very important to note here that Justice Ravindran ji is also a speaker. He has delivered more than 100 lectures in National Judicial Academy and State Judicial Academies. And to also our very fortune that he has also written articles of repute on the areas of law and justice, arbitration, mediation, and conciliation. We are very, very happy that Justice Ravindran is here to speak on this area, that is ADR, on which area he has got the expertise. All of you know, my dear participants, that the ultimate aim of law is to give justice. Now the question is, justice has to be given to all. That is more than 138 crores of people in India. And justice should be given quickly, without delay, because justice delayed is justice denied. How is it possible that it is quite experienced by all of us that the Indian courts, Indian judiciary, they are already overburdened with the cases and litigations. So how we are expecting that justice to all and justice without delay can be rendered to the 138 crores of Indians? So that is why necessity is the mother of invention. So we developed a system which is known as alternate dispute resolution system. And within this comes mediation, conciliation, negotiation, and arbitration. And this system has been developed to reduce the workload of the court and support the court system, supplement the court system, and give justice as quickly as possible. With this view, we developed this system, and on this system, today we are fortunate privilege that Justice Ravindran Ji amongst us, who will deliver a talk on this area only. So it is necessary now for all lawyers and judges that they should know what is this ADR, how to implement it, what benefits it can give to us, because we are still doubting its importance, its role. Therefore, Ravindran Ji today will apprise the would-be lawyers, the would-be judges, to the students who will be the would-be lawyers and would-be judges, so that they will be definitely benefited out of his talk. So I am now requesting Justice R.V. Ravindran Ji to please address the audience. Justice Ravindran Ji, please address the audience on this area, on this very important area, ADR. Justice Ravindran Ji.
Thank you, Dr. Patnaik. Thank you, Mr. Pasari, the chairman of Sri Vaishnav Group of Institutions, all the trustees of the SIT Trust, and the principal and the faculty of Sri Vaishnav Institute of Law, and my dear students. It's I feel very happy to be with you in this webinar, and the subject is a favorite subject of mine. See, about 20 years back, I was surfing on the TV, and I came across a program. It was a panel discussion. It had a very interesting caption. Are you afraid of courts? This was the panel discussion. There was an audience of about 100 or more people, the elite of Delhi. And the panelists were Kapil Sibal. I remember Kapil Sibal was there, and Fali Nariman was there. I think Abhishek Singhvi was there. The top lawyers were there. And they discussed for nearly half an hour about courts, about justice delivery, and how courts are working. And their entire idea was to show that people need not be afraid of courts. This was the discussion. After the panelists, debated about this, I think the audience were asked about their views, and ultimately they were asked to raise their hands to show whether they were afraid of courts or they were not afraid of courts when it was virtually put to vote. You would be surprised to learn, I was shocked at that time, that except 3, the entire audience lifted their hands, thereby saying they were afraid of courts. Then the anchor, he went around passing the mic and said, why are you afraid of courts? They gave 3-4 reasons. One is the universal reason about courts: delay. Some section, they said they were afraid of courts because of the cost, high cost involved, the lawyers' fees and all that. The third reason that was given was the uncertainty of the outcome. Somebody said, you see, you go to a court, you file a case, you conduct it for 10 years, you spend your money, you spend your time, and you may win or you may not lose. You may lose. Or you may win, the other side may go in appeal, and you may lose in the appeal. Or then they may go to High Court. There also you may win, but you may lose in the Supreme Court. They said there is absolute uncertainty about the legal system and court system, therefore we are afraid. The fourth reason, if I am correct, that was given was the unfriendly atmosphere of courts. the hostile atmosphere of courts. This was one of the reasons given. This was also, I was surprised. Being a lawyer, I thought I was very comfortable in courts. Judges are comfortable, lawyers are comfortable. I'm sure when you become lawyers, you are going to be comfortable. But a litigant is not. Litigants certainly feel uncomfortable. This is what I learned. That day, it was at the end of it all, there were, three guys who had not lifted their hands. So the anchor was very anxious to know, when all the 100 have lifted their hands and said that they are afraid of courts, why these three people were not afraid. And therefore he said, "Sir, can I know why you are not afraid?" And passed on. And all three said they were lawyers. That was the reason they were not afraid. Only the lawyers were not afraid of the courts, and all others, I tell you, were afraid. And that changed my view. You see, by then I was a judge of the High Court for 7-8 years. I thought that courts are not as friendly as judges think and lawyers think. People are uncomfortable with courts. Then what is the alternative? What is the alternative? The alternative, to know the alternative, you should know the statistics. We are 130 crores, maybe I think Dr. Patnaik put it as 145 crores. He is very optimistic. He wants us to overtake China or some such thing. Anyhow, let it be 130 crores, let it be 140 crores, but it is very huge. And how many courts we have? We have about 22,000 courts. You know that, 22,000 courts. About 35 Supreme Court judges, maybe about 1,000 High Court judges, and about 22,000 the subordinate court judges. And the unfortunate thing in India is, among the courts, nearly 20% of the courts are always vacant, in the sense there is shortage of judges. Therefore, we have a operating strength of 15 to 16,000 judges at any given point of time. So look at it. We have around 16,000 judges. We have 130 or 135 crores of people, which by the time I have completed the sentence would have risen by a few thousand. Now, that means we are having a judge population ratio of working judges is around 12 judges per million. Do you think it is high or low? Well, I'm not, all of you are muted and you cannot immediately answer me, but it is considered by developed countries' standards, this is very low. You will find United States of America, if I'm correct, has got a judge population ratio of nearly 110 judges to 120 judges per million. You go to Australia, you get this figure to be maybe around 50 to 60. Therefore, in the developed countries, it is more like 50 per million, and we are having only 12. Therefore, there is a huge pendency, huge backlog, and tremendous amount of pressure on courts. That's why you hear of cases started in, let us say, somebody starts it, it goes to appeal. That is, by then it is the son or daughter, because the fellow who has started would have died, and by the time it goes to the Supreme Court, maybe it is the grandchildren who are conducting cases. 30 years, 35 years, when you go through the hierarchy of courts, is quite common. And I know, for example, for states like Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, where a criminal appeal in the High Court takes 20 years after the trial court has decided the matter, and the High Court takes 20 years for a criminal appeal. The position is very, very bad. Therefore, one reason you will all agree why some alternative dispute resolution process is to be found is to reduce the backlog, to reduce the burden on courts, and to ensure that the quicker justice is delivered to all the citizens of India. This is one reason. This is the one main role of ADR in the justice dispensation, as Dr. Patnaik has chosen the subject. Now, Is that the only reason? It is certainly not. As I said, I told you about the panel discussion. People are worried. People are afraid of courts because of various reasons. As I told you, delay. Delay, saps the energy. You may have the energy, for a litigant may have the energy to file the suit, incur the necessary initial expenditure, engage a lawyer, have the enthusiasm to go to court, but he has to go to court and come back, go to court, come back, for years and years. He has to waste his time, his energy is sapped, his money is spent, and he becomes, he wants to put an end to it, and is not certain what the result is going to be. Therefore, a alternative dispute resolution system which can sort out these issues relating to courts, these problems that are associated with courts, if they can be removed, that will really be rendering justice and doing a service to the society. Now, what are they? Number one, as I said, delay. What is alternative dispute resolution? I'm sure some of you at least must be having alternative dispute resolution process as one of the subjects or part of the subjects. See, as you know, you have two systems. One is the adjudicatory system and the other is the non-adjudicatory system. Adjudicatory system has got, again, two wings. One is the public fora, that is courts, and then you have the private fora, that is arbitral tribunals. These are the adjudicatory forum before whom, once you go there, you are certain about a result. The result may take 10 years, 5 years, you may like it, you may not like it, but at the end of the day, you get the result. There is an adjudication. This is the arbitration and courts. Now, if you remove the adjudicatory processes, which are time consuming, which are costly, you have the non-adjudicatory processes, which in India, they are known as by several names. One is conciliation, another is mediation, another is lok adalats. These are the three recognized non-adjudicatory alternative dispute resolution fora. Of course, the last one, as Dr. Patnaik mentioned, is direct negotiation. That is the best, but unfortunately, parties who are litigating, parties who are in a dispute, parties who are fighting are not in a position to sit across the table and negotiate and come to a settlement. Therefore, that part, that is direct settlement, being a very effective process by which matters can be settled, is the least. We will not bother about it because it does not come under the ADR processes. That leaves us with the three major alternative processes. That is, one, conciliation; number two, lok adalats; number three, mediation. Now, what is conciliation? Conciliation and mediation are in principle the same. That is, a neutral third party, or he need not be neutral, but he may be a friend of the both sides also. He assists and he facilitates the two disputing parties to arrive at a settlement. This is mediation and conciliation. Only difference is conciliation is governed by a statute, that is Arbitration and Conciliation Act, and therefore if there should be a conciliation, both parties should sign a document or a memorandum by which they agree to refer the matter to the conciliator and agree that the conciliator's decision would be binding. The settlement that is reached before him is binding. That is conciliation. But many a time conciliation is not very popular because once parties are in a dispute, they don't come together and sign a memorandum saying, all right, we will go to so-and-so for settlement. Therefore, conciliation is very, very limited. Then we have the lok adalats. Lok adalats are where courts have already are seized of the matter and the courts have referred it to other judges to settle the matter. That is functioning very effectively in motor accident cases and maybe in some matrimonial disputes. Now, that leaves a large chunk of commercial litigation out. See, motor accident cases are, of course, they require to be settled. Yes, that is Lok Adalats is doing a fine job, and conciliation and Lok Adalats are also doing a good job, reasonably good job in settling matrimonial cases. But the large number of commercial disputes which form the main bulwark of civil litigation, they are not settled in Lok Adalats. They do not go to conciliation. There, the only remedy is mediation. Mediation at present is through courts. But luckily, under the new act, Commercial Courts Act, there is the law now requires in commercial dispute mandatory pre-mediation before going to the trial. Therefore, by this method, slowly and steadily, mediation is becoming popular. And they have in several cities, I do not know about Indore, in Mumbai, in Delhi, in Bangalore, a lot of mediation centers have come, apart from the mediation centers set up by the High Court itself. And these are functioning very well in settling cases. Therefore, let us see how they are more advantageous. How is it that, what is their role in dispensation of justice? As I said, when you go to court, it depends on your financial capacity and your perseverance to conduct the case. It takes years and years. Judges come, judges go, lawyers come, lawyers go, and the litigant also goes. Many a time he goes and the seller comes. But in a mediation or in a conciliation or in any negotiated process, the parties sit together, to at least, if not together, opposite sides of the table. They have the assistance of a mediator or a conciliator who facilitates discussions and persuades both. How does he persuade? He listens to the grievance of one side, he listens to the grievance of the other side, he tries to find out which is the area where the parties are not seeing eye to eye, and try to persuade them to come to a settlement. And when the settlement comes, it comes in a day or two, or maybe a week, or maybe 10 days. It does not go beyond 10 to 15 days. So the first advantage is the delay is not there. You get a decision immediately. This is the first advantage. What is the second advantage? The cost, the high cost of litigation in various courts, every time having to spend money, it is not there. You go to mediation, you discuss the matter, you settle it. There is very, very small cost, in the sense that, yes, if you have a lawyer, you have to pay, but you pay for the hearing, one hearing, and not for 10 years or 15 years of litigation. Therefore, cost is very low. The third is the uncertainty is removed. You know, in courts, as I said, anything may happen. You may win, you may lose for various reasons. Here, you are in control. Whether you settle the matter or not is in your hands, and you can negotiate with the other party, and you arrive at a settlement. It is something in your hands. Therefore, the uncertainty goes. Then there is also flexibility. You see, in courts, you can't have a decision. The suit is dismissed or suit is decreed. There is no via media. You can't have choices in relief. But in a mediation, in a conciliation, you can have various choices of relief. Let us give an example. Let us say somebody enters into an agreement to sell his house or to sell his plot to somebody, and then he does not sell it. The other side goes to court. And in a court, only two things can happen. Either there is specific performance in which event the seller will have to execute the sale in regard to the entire plot, or the court dismisses, in which event the purchaser does not get anything. But in a mediation, you can say, all right, the seller can say, yes, I wanted to sell, but now I want to retain some portion because I have nowhere else to go. The purchaser can say, all right, you have agreed to sell a big plot, you give half of it, you retain half of it. You see, a settlement always takes note of the needs and necessities of both parties. Therefore, you have the choice of relief. This is the greatest advantage, particularly in commercial litigation, where you may have to again work with the same party. He may be a supplier. There may be no other supplier is available. And if he is the only supplier, and if you have a litigation with him, and if you become enemies, where do you get your supplies tomorrow? Therefore, to maintain relationship, this is very, very useful. Alternative dispute resolution processes are very useful. Then the hostile atmosphere that is associated with courts is not there. You are in a friendly atmosphere, you are sitting across a table, maybe you can have a cup of coffee, you are sitting in an air-conditioned room, and you can settle it. Provided, of course, you decide to settle the matter and not drag on the matter. It is very, very easy. And when you go to court and get a decree, it is very difficult to get relief because you have to start what is known as execution proceedings. One of the great authors of, I think we used to read his book, Sonawala on execution proceedings. The foreword says, the troubles of a litigant or a plaintiff starts not when he goes to court, but when he gets a decree, because it is then he has to go through the difficult process of executing the decree and getting the relief. Many people don't get the relief. They end up with paper decrees. But if it is an alternative dispute resolution process where parties have agreed on the relief, it becomes very, very easy because it is by consent, relief is also given. Therefore, you will find when compared to courts, when compared to the processes in court, alternative dispute resolution process is economical, it is fast, it is user-friendly, and it is most advantageous to the parties. It has not been a great success because people are indecisive and people are greedy, and therefore they think, because in a negotiated settlement process, it is not always taking, it is giving and taking. And many parties do not want to give, they only want to take. When both parties want to take without giving up something, there is no settlement. But if parties are mature enough, if parties are good, parties are practical, then nothing like alternative dispute resolution processes. Well, it is not, does it mean that courts are bad? No, courts are not bad. Courts have other serious work. Criminal cases. 80% of litigation in India is criminal cases. Criminal cases cannot be settled, cannot go to alternative dispute resolution process unless it is a 138 check bouncing case or some petty offenses. All other cases, trial has to go on. And there are public interest litigation, there are administrative law cases, there are other cases which have to be settled by courts which cannot go to. Therefore, the idea is this: the commercial disputes and disputes like family disputes, if they can move from the arena of courts to the arena of negotiated settlement, two things happen. Society becomes a better place. This is the most, it is, many people think, the burden of courts reducing is the most important benefit falling out of ADR. No, ADR is more beneficial to the society because it reduces enmity, it increases fraternity, it makes people more civil, more civilized. Therefore, ultimately, it makes a better society. This is the most important, result of ADR, the alternative dispute resolution processes. Now, coming to courts, what are the advantages? When these cases, the negotiated settlement cases are taken out, courts can concentrate on criminal cases and other cases, and what is taking 5 years, 10 years, 15 years can be decided in quicker time. Therefore, courts also can render justice, deliver justice within affordable and within a reasonable time. This is the other advantage. Therefore, it is a win-win situation. The alternative dispute resolution process is therefore called as a win-win situation because, firstly, both parties win, nobody loses. In a court, there is a loser, there is a winner. In a negotiated settlement, there is a winner, there is a winner. This is win-win situation for the parties. And it is a win-win situation for the country because society is improved. And it is a win-win situation for the courts also because the burden is reduced because many of the cases go out. Therefore, alternative dispute resolution processes have a tremendous future. I can only explain it by a example. You see, court is like an operation theater. It is like a big hospital with lot of operation theaters and surgeons. Now, all patients don't require surgery. Most of the patients require a tablet. They require a physician. They require an outpatient department. That is why 90% of the patients are treated by physicians, interns, by medicines. Only 5 to 10% go to surgery. Now, this is the medical field. Imagine courts are like that. 90% of the civil cases do not require surgery. Court is a place where surgery takes place. Mediation and conciliation is like the outpatient department where the physician gives you medicine and treats you. 90% cases only require that kind of medicine. What is the system we are now having is, we are only having hospitals. Let us imagine you have in your city only hospitals with surgeons and you don't have any physicians. Anybody who goes with a illness, operate him. Surgical remedy. That is most disastrous. You don't require surgery for everything. Similarly, for all disputes, you don't require the heavy-handed litigation and courts. You require simple medicines, simple tablet, a decision, a negotiation, a settlement. Now, this is what alternative dispute resolution can do. The alternative dispute resolution process can be the outpatient department where 90% patients can be treated and only the serious cases can go to courts. This is the greatest advantage as far as courts are concerned. Now, you are all, most of you, I'm sure, are going to become lawyers. Some may have this doubt because many lawyers also have this doubt. The doubt is, if a case is there, if it is conducted for say 5 years or 6 years in a court, you get fees for that. Then if there is an appeal, you get fees for that. And then you go for another appeal, you get fees for that. But if you settle a case, what fees will I get? Now, this is a legitimate question some lawyers ask. If the cases get settled by alternative dispute processes, then what work we will have? This is again a misconception. You see, people, if you do not give relief to the people, people will stop coming to courts. If there is a doctor to whom you go there, and what can be, if you can be treated in 2 days, if the doctor treats him for 1 month or 2 months and then says you have to undergo surgery, what will you do? You will stop going to that doctor. Lawyers will become like that unless you give immediate relief, unless you give satisfactory relief to the litigant. People are going to stop coming to lawyers. Therefore, getting cases settled, getting matters settled is an advantage to lawyers and not a disadvantage. I will tell you why. If you take Mumbai, if you take any big city, I do not know about the present situation, about 10, 20 years back where houses, getting tenants out was a big problem. And courts were taking anything between 5 to 10 years or 15 years for passing eviction orders. And many cases, because of the rent control legislation, courts were not directing eviction. People stopped, landlords stopped coming to courts. They went to the local mafia to get a tenant evicted. Or they used to go to the police to get the tenant evicted. Therefore, if the people lose the confidence in the court system, in the judiciary, in lawyers, they will stop coming to lawyers. They will stop coming to courts, and there will be anarchy. There will be no rule of law. That is how Naxalism started. When tribals, when the downtrodden, when they did not get justice, when they did not get access to justice, when lawyers did not help them because they did not have money to pay, what do? They turn into extremists. They turn into Naxals. They take law into their own hands. Therefore, lawyers have a very, very important role. That's why it is said you are a noble profession. When you become a lawyer, you belong to a noble profession. You are serving the society, incidentally earning a fees. Earning the fees is not the main thing. You are not a businessman. You are a service personnel giving service to the society, so that the society becomes peaceful. It becomes a pleasant place to stay and to work. And lawyers have a great role in it. And you should, as the lawyers of tomorrow, should also have the commitment. I do not know whether your law college has a clinic. If you are having a law clinic, you can have a ADR clinic. You can start by, well, you need not become lawyers to settle cases. If, let us say, two of your friends are fighting, do you go to a lawyer? I'm sure you will the friends will try to sit and settle the matter. If you can do it with your friends, why not? You ask your principal, Dr. Patnaik ji, to have a clinic if you are not having a clinic, and start settling cases. And it will give you the greatest of satisfaction. I have been a lawyer for 25 years. I have been a judge for 20 years. If the satisfaction you get when two parties before you settle a matter is much more than the satisfaction you get by winning a case, because by winning or by losing, you are either making somebody very sad or somebody feel temporarily happy. But if you settle the case, they are permanently happy. Please remember these aspects and make ADR a successful working process that will really help everyone and society. Thank you. Thank you.
You have delivered your talk in so clearly, there is no question to put to you. I would like to know whether in India this ADR system is actually functioning.
Well, that's why I said Lok Adalats are functioning very well. Conciliation is not functioning at all, because once a dispute arises, people don't go to somebody and say settle it. But mediation is very successful in Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai. The mediation centers are very, very active, and there are good settlements. But in some cities, mediation have not been successful because people are not aware of it, aware of the advantages. When you know the advantages of a system, then people start practicing it. And the lawyers, ultimately, when you are not well, you go by the advice of doctor, and when you have a problem, you go by the advice of the lawyer. Therefore, unless a lawyer is convinced about ADR, unless the lawyer persuades the client to go for ADR and settle the matter, the mediation will not be will not be successful. But more and more people are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. They see that they can have relief today. Why wait for 10 years and be uncertain? You may get the relief, you may not get the relief, you may lose or you may win. But if you have the relief today, and if you have a reasonable relief, if you have a relief that is meets your requirement, why not have it today? Therefore, many are agreeing, and the Commercial Courts Act, by requiring a pre-trial mediation process, as really pushing it towards a successful end. I'm sure that ADR is in the coming days will have a great future. Great future. Yeah.
Sir, put another thing.
you allow the students to put the questions. No, put this question next. You can allow the students.
You have become an arbitrator and also a mediator.
Yeah.
So when we choose to go for arbitration?
See, arbitrations are completely different. Let us say in your place near Indore, a dam is constructed across river Narmada, where serious and complicated claims of 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores, 10,000 crores is there. Mediation does not work unless you see it is between two private parties, where government is one side and a contractor is on the other side. And if the claim is 1,000 crores, do you think by mediation it can be settled? Because if the chief engineer settles the matter and pays him 500 crores, tomorrow the CVC will be after him, CBI will be after him, the newspapers will be after him, NGOs will be after him. Therefore, no government officer is willing to settle big claims. He says, let it be decided.
Yes.
Now, if it goes to court, because the stakes are high, the documents are voluminous, courts will not take them for 10 to 20 years. Therefore, it is the huge disputes, which involve hundreds and thousands of crores. They are good for arbitration. But the people, the common man does not have cases of 1,000 crores and 500 crores. He has got his day-to-day affairs, his house dispute, his salary dispute, all small matters or even matrimonial disputes. These are not for arbitration. These are for negotiated settlement. These are also not for courts. Criminal cases are for courts. The writ petitions are for courts. But the normal disputes between family members, between businessmen, between members of the society, it is all for mediation and negotiated settlement. And it will be successful there.
Thank you, sir.
Then raise your hand and on your video first. Raise your hand and on your video.
Yes, Mr. Anupam Bhatt wants to say something, but he is muted.
Sir, मैं unmute कर रहा हूँ sir. Anybody want to ask any question? First, raise your hand. Vinny.
Yes, sir.
Anybody? Yes. To ask any question.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for providing us with such informative, beneficial information. So my question is this process of ADR impartial and unbiased?
See, as you know, ADR is a common term for mediation, for Lok Adalat, and for even conciliation. Now, you see, bias and prejudice play a role when you have to make a decision. When somebody hears a case and decides a case, the question of bias, question of prejudice comes. But if it is a mediation, you are only a facilitator. Mediator is only a facilitator. You have a dispute with X. So X and you are brought across a table and you are asked to give your grievances. The other side will give their grievances or complaints. And then you explore the possibilities of what relief you want. And the other party says, no, this I cannot do, this I can do. Now, slowly and steadily, in a civil manner, without, coming to fisticuffs and fighting, you are made to realize what is the strength or weakness of your case. And the other side also realizes the strength and weakness of the case. And you both of you realize what is the advantage and disadvantage. By this process, the two parties are brought together. There is no question of any bias or prejudice because a real mediator, a real conciliator does not take sides. He is only a facilitator. He merely makes the parties to come together. Therefore, there is no room for any kind of bias or prejudice. But in practice, I do not know. In practice, somebody may do something if somebody is known to them or do some such thing. But most of the cases, the decision is in your hand. Even if the conciliator says, no, do it this way, you need not do it. Only if it is good for you, you can do it. That is the great advantage in the alternative dispute resolution process, because you are the master. You are always in control. Judge is not in control, lawyer is not in control, mediator is not in control. You are in control of your case. Therefore, the very, very remote chance of any bias playing a role. This is what I would say.
Anybody other want to ask any question? Please raise your hand if you want to ask any question. No. Nobody. Okay. So nobody want to ask any question. So, sir.
So we are really very, very thankful for your nice talk. So clearly or so simply you have explained as expected that we would be very, very thankful to you, sir. And I'm sure you will remember this institute and remember us. And we will definitely be in our memory for all time to come. Thank you very much and wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish all the best to the students. Thank you.
You so nicely you have spoken, sir. So nice. Now the last part is vote on.
At the end of this knowledgeable webinar, I would like to call Sri Girdhar Gopalji Nagar, Chairman Sri Vaishnav Institute of Law, for vote of thanks.
श्री वैष्णव इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ लॉ में के इस वेबिनार में हमारे मुख्य अतिथि माननीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री आर.वी. रविंद्रन साहब को मैं कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद प्रेषित करता हूं कि आपने अपने अमूल्य समय में से हमें समय दिया तथा इस गंभीर विषय पर हमें तथा हमारे प्रिय विद्यार्थियों को ज्ञान की गंगा प्रवाहित की। मैं हमारे ट्रस्ट के अध्यक्ष माननीय श्री पुरुषोत्तम दास जी पसारी, हमारे सभी पदाधिकारीगण, सभी माननीय ट्रस्टीगण का भी आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि उन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम में सम्मिलित होकर इस कार्यक्रम की गरिमा प्रदान करी। इस वेबिनार के आयोजन करने वाले हमारे डायरेक्टर श्री पटनायक जी, समस्त शिक्षकगण एवं सहयोगों का भी आभार मानता हूं जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम को अमली रूप प्रकट करा। और अंत में मैं उन सभी विद्यार्थियों का और इनमें सहभागी बनने वाले सभी प्रतिभागियों का भी हृदय से आभार मानता हूं कि जो इन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम में पधारे और अपना समय दिया और इसका आदरणीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री आर.वी. रविंद्रन साहब को सुना। मैं बहुत पुनः सभी का आभार मानता हूं और आप सभी की शुभकामनाएं आप सभी को शुभकामनाएं प्रेषित करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Okay, sir. Sir, now the meeting has come to an end. Namaskar and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Okay, thanks to all.
Namaskar.